Hi, everybody. Hello. So glad to see so many folks in the room today. Happy Sunday. That was me looking over at my calendar to make sure I said the right day. Happy Sunday. It's the daily Antidote of Song, and it is the last day of this month's Carpe Diem Arts Week. Lots of exciting weeks coming up, so please stick around with us for the rest of the summer and beyond as we continue to celebrate lots of great music. Hello, everybody out there on Facebook Live. We're really glad you're here. And hello, everybody in our virtual room. Hello to Reggie Harris, who's here from upstate New York. Glad to see you. Aaron Geyer, hello. Thank you for running the tech today. Deborah Denfeld in Kentucky. Glad to see you. Sandy in Maryland. Susan in Ohio. Hello, Brian. How are you? Cheers to Brian. I'm right there with you on the hot tea. It is freezing here in Washington, D.C. Hello to Trish. Nice to see you today, coming in from BC. Hello to Kate in Charlottesville. Nice to see you. Hello, Carol in Connecticut. Phoebe, hello. Glad you're back again today. Nice to see you. Sheila in Florida, hello. Jim Harkless is in the house. That's always the most fun. Love to see you, Jim. Nice that you're here. Hi, Arlene in California. Martha in Oregon. Annette in California. Hello, Christiana and Small Person. Hello, Small Person. Oh, you're adorable. Hello to Kevin in New Hampshire. Hello to Char. Nice to have you, Char. Glad you're with us today. Thanks for being here. Coming in from New Hampshire. Kathleen in Albuquerque. Susan in Seattle, Sarah in Texas, Caroline in DC, Bob in Tucson, Bob in Maryland, and Storm in Mass, Peter and Janet in Toronto. Hello, hope you got your percussion out. Karen, hello in Oregon, and Carolyn in Idaho. Hello, Anna in Maine. Nice to see you. And I think I'm going to be meeting Anna in Maine, not in Maine, but meeting Anna in another week. Kind of exciting. Second friendship forming. Luda and Mark, good to see you. Well, Luda without Mark. Luda and Mark's empty chair in BC. Nice to see you today. Dan in Virginia, hello. Becky in Vancouver. Hindi in Toronto, hello. Barb in Virginia. Hello, Kat in Vermont. And Jane in Silver Spring. Tom in Victoria. Delhi in Maryland. And lots of folks off video. Bronwyn and Aloysius, who is now on video. Mommy in New Jersey, hello. Marnie in New York. Michelle and Steve. Cricket. Miriam. Valerie. Gary. And Campbell, which is maybe even also Natalia and everybody. Oh, and Fred and Isabel. Goodness gracious. There's more and more people popping in. Nancy and Jamie and Josh. Hello, everybody. Deep breath. I love a full house, but I'm sorry that you all have to hear me Babylon incessantly, very, very, very fast. And then take a deep breath. Let's do it again. It's a 2-breath Sunday, and actually we might be talking about breath today, as we are at this moment a year from exactly to the day from the time that we sang with Reggie Harris after George Floyd was murdered. And so this past week has been a week to do a lot of deep thinking, and we'll get some good chatting in with Reggie after he sings with us. Reggie, can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you're sharing and share away?
Well, hello, and I have no idea how you do that. I just absolutely love watching you and listening to you do that. I mean, it's just such an expression of welcoming and joy. So, hello everyone. I see your smiles, and I am thrilled to be here. It's been a little while since I had an opportunity and the pleasure of leading. I thought today I would do one of the songs from my CD, which, by the way, has been hanging out at about number 2 on the folk DJ charts. I'm right behind Peggy Seeger, and I have a feeling I'm going to stay behind Peggy Seeger. Which is just about right. I love Peggy Seeger, and of course she's part of our family here. And our CDs came out at the same time, and they're just hanging out at the top of the charts. And this song was one that was given to me. Actually, I was made aware of it by my friend Susan, who said this song has to go on your CD, and I said, maybe. But she was totally right, and she kind of hung in there through my resistance to actually hear the song. It's a song that was written by a man named Joshua Campbell, who I have not met, but who I saw on YouTube singing this song with several friends of his at his Harvard graduation, and he sang this song in honor of John Lewis, who was also at that graduation. He was being honored with a degree from Harvard, and they sang this song to honor him for his lifelong work in justice and civil rights. And in listening to the song, I thought, oh, yeah, okay, fine. That's a great song to do. And on the CD, I had the great privilege of calling my friends Pat Wichter, Greg Greenway, and Tom Prasado Rao, who collaborated with me on this in the way that we do. Open friendship, just singing our hearts out. You'll see that the words, the chorus is very simple. I'm gonna sing out. I'm gonna march on. Yeah, I'm gonna sing out. I'm gonna march on. So you have to get your best Motown attitude. You know, we're not gonna do the steps today, but you can do the steps. You know, that wasn't my calling. So yeah, I see you, Deborah. I see y'all starting it up. All right, so that's the chorus. And basically what I thought as I started to do this, oh yeah, I played a little riff on the guitar, but as you can see, my hand is getting better. It is not yet strong enough to really play the guitar, but I have picked it up and I'm starting to work my way back in. So thank you to all of you for all of your love and concern and the light that you've been sending me. Keep sending it to the hand, to the hand. So I'm not going to play that today, but basically we can get our little groove on. Zoom, doom, waham, doom, waham. So that'll be what we sing in between the little spots, and you'll pick that up. And you'll see that in the middle, I couldn't resist putting a little piece of Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Around into the song, because that's really what the song is saying. It's a tribute to those who have really persevered, and to all of us who are continuing to persevere. You know that we are not out of the storm. And in case we didn't recognize that we're not out of the storm, every single day, those who are in opposition are continuing to do things to remind us that we have to stay vigilant and stay at work. So we're going to sing the song today, and we will dedicate this to those on this Memorial Day weekend who have been light bearers and who sacrificed for us in so many different ways. Not only those who sacrificed in war, but in the war of civil and human rights, in the war of discrimination, the war of oppression, and in the wars against women, and in the wars against our environment. All of those things, all of those veterans who have stayed the course and said, ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, to give us an opportunity to do our part. So I'm just gonna yeah, sing that again. Well, I marched through the storm, and I marched through the rain, and I marched through some sickness, through heartache and pain. I laid down on the ground and looked up at the sky, and I prayed in my misery, and then I asked why. I'm gonna sing out, I'm gonna march on, yeah, I'm gonna sing out, I'm gonna march on, add your harmonies, and I'm gonna sing out, I'm gonna march on, yeah, I'm gonna sing out, I'm gonna march on, yeah. Now, sometimes I get tired, but I'm not through marching yet. I will march till I die, on that you can bet. We're singing, I'm gonna sing out, I'm gonna march on, yeah, I'm gonna sing out, I'm gonna march on. Well, my granddaddy marched and my grandmama too. Never thought I'd still be marching. It's what we must do. I'll march when I must. I'm on a mission, you see. And I know one day my children will be marching for me. I'm gonna sing out. I'm gonna march on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna sing out. I'm gonna march on. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. I'm gonna keep on a walking, keep on a talking, marching up to freedom land, sing again. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round, turn me round, turn me round. Ain't gonna let nobody turn me round. I'm gonna keep on a walking, keep on a talking, marching up to freedom land. Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, now I believe in the power of raising my voice, and I believe in the power of making some noise. If I die, I can't sing, but if I can't sing, I'll die. So let's live for one another as we give it a try. I'm gonna sing out. I'm gonna march on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna sing out. I'm gonna march on. Sing it again. I'm singing. I'm gonna sing out. I'm gonna march on. Take it home now. I'm gonna sing out. I'm gonna march on. Yeah.
Woo! Reggie Harris, bringing it all the way home. Thank you so much. Absolutely precious, beautiful, amazing. The energy and also all of the thoughtfulness about exactly where we are right now as a nation, packed right into that song. So yeah, where we are right now as a nation, like the hopeful days and then the not hopeful days and whatever it is that just happened with the January 6th thing, which is just beyond distressing. And there's those moments where we feel like we see progress and it feels like hope and a straight line, and then nothing's really ever a straight line, eh? Like,
No,
so.
no, it never is. Never is. I woke up this morning and, I don't typically read the news before afternoon. That's kind of a promise I made to myself from years ago. Yeah, I cheat a little, every now and then, as I hear little things come in. Or if I go on Facebook and I see some post. But this morning I was leading a service for the Unitarian Universalist Church in Westchester, New York. And I wanted to kind of check in on some things. And I saw an article that was on Stone Mountain. And the commission that is now trying to clean up the Stone Mountain Confederate monument. And I think that's my canine co-worker out there. Carmel. She's usually in here, but I had to usher her out. At any rate, the monument is again causing concern. I didn't realize, I was in Atlanta for my first year of college in 1970. And at that time, I was almost totally oblivious to the fact that Atlanta and Georgia had just desegregated and that Stone Mountain had just been completed. And so a friend of mine who remains a friend to this day, my friend Robert, a young black man who had just come through that whole cauldron of Georgia desegregating, took me to Stone Mountain one day. And we went there and we climbed the mountain and went up on top, and we just kind of thought about it as an outing. And I saw those figures of the Confederacy there, but I didn't really pay very much attention to them. But over the course of years and now, we realized that that monument not only was put there as a totem, as a, to really cement the fact that, yeah, you can legislate, you can do all you want, but we're going to put our heroes up here on the side of a mountain. And the big thing was that from the early 1950s, the Klan was meeting in that place up until very recently. And it was actually suggested by one of the daughters of the Confederacy that figures of the Klan be also included in the face of the monument as a testament to what they had done to save the heritage of white people, white supremacy. So on my visit to that place in 1970, had no context, no memory, and no recognition of what that memory was. And so now there's a commission that is trying to figure out how to reinterpret it. And of course, it's causing more dissension. So this is part of the battle that we are still engaged in as we see people vociferously trying to keep hate and supremacy alive.
So thank you, Reggie. I was, as we approached this week here, which is the 1-year mark from the murder of George Floyd, I had remembered with a lot of intensity the singing that we did that week and the crying that we did that week. And I remembered that you had been a part of it. And I remembered that Kofi had been a part of it, but I couldn't remember anything sort of about the order or how it came about. And I had looked recently and then reminded myself again this morning that we actually sang with you on the day that George Floyd was murdered, but before we knew. And we sang in this room your song, This Joy That I Have, and we were joyful. And the next day we were devastated and we were shocked and we were, searching. And then I asked you then to come back and sing with us again. So that was the year ago today. And then you sang On Solid Ground. And not long after that, you sang Somebody's Been Hurting My Brother.
Yeah.
And it's, this funny, weird way in which, that music traveled with us, but like the joy and then the actual sort of facing reality-ness is actually built into all of those songs and into, I would say, all of your songs. Like there's that activism running parallel to the notion that we must find the things that we can honor and celebrate and that keep us going while we are at the same time facing what sometimes seems so bleak. Can you talk a little bit about how you managed to get all of that into your work or how you managed to get all of that into your being on a day-to-day sort of journey?
Well, part of it is exactly what you said. It's all a mixture. And years ago, I came upon a phrase, and I think this came out of my liver transplant because, on most days before my transplant, I woke up feeling absolutely awful. And every morning I had to assess what I needed and try to do something to make myself feel better. And often it was the singing that really brought me back alive. I was still performing in that time, up in the months and months and months up to the transplant, up to the time that my body just caved. And I just noticed that every time, if I had a performance at a school or wherever, and I would struggle to get there, and then I'd get on stage and I would sing, and for that hour or that 2 hours, I was renewed. I was affirmed. The pain, all of the things that were happening would suddenly, they wouldn't disappear, but they would, I would be filled with an energy that I couldn't explain. And I just tried to take note of that. And then I was given the gift of life to, receive a new liver. And I thought, I'm going to live into what I've learned from that. I'm going to live into the spirituals as they give us the opportunity to acknowledge who we are, and acknowledge what our situation is, acknowledge the devastation, to mourn. All of those verses, all those songs that rise up. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Oh Lord, how come me here? just to say, yes, we are in a horrible place, but we are not going to stay here. And so we come out of that and we can begin to sing, ain't gonna let nobody turn me around, or we can begin to sing, we're wading in the water, or all of those things. So I just, through the experience, it became an everyday commitment for me. And as I've said before, I wear this turtle. This was the thing that came to me. To wear a chain, a turtle around my neck, so it will remind me of the length and the slowness that we have to infuse in our body, the expectation of possibility that we have not reached yet. And the songs remind me of that. And then things happen this week, as a result of the CD being out, and this wonderful publicist that I'm working with, she keeps getting me these interviews, and this week I got an interview with a young man who is running a thing called the Bluegrass Situation. And so I was wondering what we talk about. I'm on the way fringe of bluegrass if I'm there at all. And but they love the album, and he wanted to talk to me about the themes of the album. And I was expecting to want to kind of explain civil rights, explain this, and he was way ahead of me. He was ready. Here is a 30-something white cisgender disabled queer banjo playing bluegrass guy who has been working for the last number of years in infusing the message of diversity and justice in the bluegrass community. And that's why he wanted to talk to me, because his journey has opened him up to embracing all of those things that he, as he said, is often completely absent from the world that he loves. And we had a 45-minute conversation. It was an interview, but it was a conversation of what we're trying to do here. And it was one of those things that you say, here is someone who, if you just, it was totally unexpected of me that somebody in bluegrass had been working doggedly to raise these issues in the face of a lot of opposition. So there are so many of us out there, more than we know. And I have to remind myself again and again, because, I, like everybody else, I have my days when I just think, well, the opposition is overwhelming because they're loud. But no, they're not overwhelming. We are touching people's hearts through this music. And my heart gets touched through this music every single day. And so every time I sing it, and every time I sing it with a group of people who are willing to open their hearts to the possibility, it renews my spirit. And I think again of the spirituals, revives my soul again. I get constantly renewed through the music and through the faces that I see of just joy of us rising up in song and then marching on.
Thank you, Reggie. Totally beautiful. I feel like one of the things that happens a lot for us humans is that we learn the lessons, like the liver lesson, or the finding unique people that are struggling with their own problem lessons, and then we forget them, and we kind of go back to some sort of blah normal, or we kind of put it aside in a way that I think this year or this pandemic has sort of encouraged us to maybe not do. This time of awareness where we saw so much more clearly things that were wrong, so much like closer up in our own nation and in other nations. Mm-hmm. And so that not actually putting the burden down notion is another thing that I feel like you're singing about a lot, that like keeping it present, keeping it alive, and absolutely find that joy, carry that joy, get your strength from that joy, but don't forget to keep looking. And so that's a lot of what I have been thinking of this week. This morning, or maybe it was yesterday, I don't even know. There was an article in the Washington Post opinion in the opinion section, Salman Rushdie, who's something about what's irretrievable in the pandemic, or what's irretrievable that we're going to get back. I can't remember the title, but it was that kind of thoughtfulness about so what are we really going to keep? What did we lose? What did we gain? What are we really going to keep? And I think that's a really great question for us to be asking ourselves now. So I hope that we can have you for some singing soon, where we will actually revisit some of those songs that we sang together back a year ago. But I'm also wondering, would you be willing, so that we can take a moment to think about a year ago, and so we can take a moment to think about what's irretrievable, what we're going to keep, what we're going to hold in our center focus, how we're going to hang on to that joy, how it all comes through music. Would you be willing to give us a moment of silence, call it and end it? Thank you.
I still remember the day we took that 8-minute and 46-second moment of silence, and how powerful it was. You know, one of the things I use as a classroom management technique, and also to build, I think of Emma Gonzalez at the March for Our Lives coming out and instituting a moment of silence. And I often in classes, I will go silent with students, and I realize after about 30 seconds how uncomfortable they are. But adults are also uncomfortable with silence. We try to fill it. So in this opportunity, most of what came about for me as a CD, the songs that I wrote, came because I had the opportunity to go silent and to really sit in that silence and to hear what my heart and what the hearts of others were saying. And I thank you for the opportunity for us to gather here. So, we'll take a moment, and I think I will come out of it. We'll come out of it with a chorus of. We'll come out of it with something. We'll see what. So we'll begin now. Well, I marched through the storm, and I marched through the rain, and I marched through some sickness, through heartache and pain. I lay down on the ground, looked up at the sky. I prayed in my misery, and then I asked why. I'm gonna sing out, I'm gonna march on. Yeah, I'm gonna sing out, I'm gonna march on. Yeah.
Woof, woof. Thank you, Reggie Harris. And Carmel, is that what you said? Her
That's
name is?
Carmel.
Carmel says thank you too. Thank you, Reggie. It was really amazing to take that moment of silence. And in fact, I had been thinking about trying to do an 8-minute and 46-second moment again in the room. And interesting thoughts went through my head, like, gee, that's a really long time. Can we really build that into the program? And then I found myself thinking, wow, right? So that's 8 minutes and 46 seconds. That feels like a long time to do what? To take a pause in one of the many 365 days we've had in our lives since George Floyd died and did not have those days, right? So I'm actually going to encourage anybody who wants to go ahead and plan it into your day at whatever time of your day it works. I know people have things they actually need to do or family they need to feed. But if you can take an 8-minute and 46-second moment, you might all remember it was super powerful when we did it in here. And in fact, I will hold the room today. If anybody wants to stay and do that as part of the group, we'll go off Facebook Live. So anyone on Facebook is welcome to join us in here to do it. And everyone in here who has to leave, we'll say our goodbyes, and then we'll take our moment and we'll leave after that quietly. So Reggie Harris, you're so darn amazing. I just feel so lucky to have you in my life. Can anybody in the room who feels lucky to have Reggie Harris in their life, let him know? Yeah, Reggie Harris, lots of love to you. Thank you for a beautiful day, a beautiful journey. Thank you for all the power that you put into the universe and all of the ways you're rocking some really good change.
Thank you, Jo. Thank you all.
Yes, thank you all. Thank you everybody out there on Facebook Live for joining us. So if there's anyone watching right now who does want to join us in our virtual room for the silence, you can find the link on carpediemarts.org, and there's a Daily Antidote page. Actually, Erin is putting it into the comment section on Facebook. So feel free to jump into this room and join us for the silence. And thank you so much for being here today. Please join tomorrow for the beginning of our Country Dance and Song Society, CDSS, week in the Daily Antidote of Song.